Well, have you ever been faced with a choice? Sure, we're faced with choices all the time, aren't we? Do I hit the snooze or do I get up? But we're also faced with big choices, aren't we? Ones that we look ahead and go, oh my gosh, life is going to just be so different if I make this choice, but if I make that choice, what's going to happen there? And we get way out in the future, right? So choices is a key part of our lives every day and things that we do every single day. Are we going to have toast or a bagel, right? And then, like I say, the big choices. But what if making a choice was really a spiritual practice? What if making a choice was really a spiritual practice? Well, we have a little tradition we've sort of created around Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living each summer. It's hot in Arizona in the summer, right? So we do this kind of chilling out thing, and we're going to do that this summer with some fun stuff. We've done in the past Winnie the Pooh. We've done the Disney movies. Well, we're going to do Dr. Seuss this month of June. And Dr. Seuss and the Science of Mind is what we're going to be talking about all month long. Now, Dr. Seuss was a wonderful philosopher, of course, and he was an animator, or an illustrator, I should say, and he was an author of children's books. And he's known not only for those creative characters that he came up with all the time, but his stories were kind of silly rhymes, but they had really powerful messages inside of them, didn't they? Yeah, they had really powerful messages. And he's teaching us about how to deal with the bang-ups, hang-ups, lurches, and slumps that we run into in our life. So we're going to be looking all month at how his stories inspire us and teach us in conjunction with the science of mind, and what that wonderful Professor Ernest Holmes used to talk about as well, as we continue looking at science of mind and living from the inside out. Because that's really what it's about, isn't it? Is living from the inside out. So we're going to start where he ended, Dr. Seuss, that is, because he wrote his last book in 1990. And then he passed away in 1991. And his last book is called Oh, the Places You Will Go. Isn't that an interesting, ironic sort of book to write the year before he made his transition? Oh, the Places You'll Go. So this is what we're going to be talking about this month. So let's get started with our story. He says, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what to do, and you are the guy who will decide where to go. So that's how he opens up our book. And it's filled with advice and encouragement, but mostly it's telling us that life is filled with opportunities. It's filled with choices. It's filled with choices. And isn't that true? As we said, we make choices all day long as part of just our beingness in life. And there's always two to choose from, at least, if not more. Always two to choose from. And some of these choices, they're pretty easy. We make them, we don't even think about making them. But some of them we stew and we ponder for a day or a month or a lifetime. Are there any dreams that are there that you've been thinking about for a very, very long time of, do I move to Europe? Do I sell everything and move to a different city or a different state, or some other thing that's having its way that you've been stewing on for a long, long time? Yeah. And sometimes we feel like we don't have a choice, don't we? I hear that a lot. We've all felt like we don't have a choice, but we know we always have a choice. But it's that effect of the choice that we want to back away from. We're not willing to make the choice because of the effect that may be associated with it. Things like doing the right thing, right? Doing the right thing versus how much does it cost? How much does it cost? Do I go with top of the line, or do I go within my budget and sacrifice a little quality perhaps? Do I take the job that has the high salary and all the benefits, but that I'm not really excited about the work? Or do I take the job that's got no benefits, a low salary, but I'm so excited about the work? Or do I take neither, like our example in our recent book study, and wait for the perfect opportunity, realizing the impact that that decision, that choice even has on my family and the family unit because I'm not working. So choices, decisions that we make in our life that affect not only ourselves a lot of times, but those around us as well. Again, do I get up or do I hit the snooze? So what choice are you wrestling with? What crossroads are you standing in front of trying to decide which way do I go? And how do we make good choices in our life? How do we do that? How do we make good choices in our life? Let's go back to our story and see if Dr. Seuss has any advice for us. He says, you'll look up and down streets. Look them over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not-so-good streets. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. Now that's a big decision. Leave it all behind and head out of town and go start all over, leaving everything? That's one we can probably procrastinate on a little bit, isn't it? Probably procrastinate on that a little bit. And why do we procrastinate? I call it the fear gene. The fear gene pops up because I don't want to make that decision yet. It scares me. So that pops up. And we get to look at that and deal with that. But what if there are no wrong decisions? I can hear it. Oh, yeah, right. You don't know about that one I made a few years ago. That was a doozy. We've all had those experiences where we've made decisions, the effects have shown up, and we've gone, whoops, that wasn't what I thought was going to happen, or I'm not enjoying the effect that has happened here. And we get stuck right there, focused on that effect, and forget that it's an effect and not the cause. Forgetting that it's an effect and not the cause. Ernest Holmes, the founder of The Science of Mind and the author of the Science of Mind textbook that we teach from here, he says people often say, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make a choice. Now, he wrote this in 1938. So this is nothing new about not knowing how to make choices, right? I don't know how to make a choice. And he says, he gives us some good advice. He says we must realize that there is an intelligence within that does know. Now, if you were here a couple of weeks, we talked the whole day about that, how we have the law of divine guidance within us. Because we all have divinity, intelligence, wisdom, life itself. If we're in this room right now breathing, we have life in us. We have divine guidance available to us, and if we activate it. He says that the guidance is true everywhere and in everyone. Everybody has it. And when we can remember that no universal law is a respecter of persons, in other words, it treats us all exactly the same. When we can remember that, then we know how to act, how to use these laws, how to work within the system of universal laws. And he goes on to tell us in this passage that these laws will bring us good or evil according to our use or misuse of the laws. We get to decide. It's kind of like mathematics. We've talked about that before. We all go to school and learn mathematics. 2 plus 2 is 4. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And if we use it correctly, it works for us, doesn't it? It works for everybody the same way. But if we misuse it, we might run out of gas. We might run out of money in our bank account, might not get our bills paid. We might get the incorrect change coming back to us at the grocery store because we're not using mathematics the way it's designed, the way the law works and is designed to be used. Electricity, if you put a fork in your toaster instead of bread, you're not only misusing the toaster, but you're misusing the law of electricity too, and you're going to get hurt. Whereas if you're just toasting your bread, you're going to get something yummy in your tummy. Right? So we can use or misuse physical and spiritual laws the way we choose to. The way we choose to. So let's move on. Our story goes back now and it begins to change tone just a little bit. He's telling us that yes, life is an adventure and you're doing great and you're having all these experiences along the line, except when you don't. because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch and your gang will fly on and you'll be left in a lurch. You'll be left in a lurch. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're dark. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Dare you stay out? Dare you go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right? Or right and 3/4? Or maybe not quite. Or go around back and sneak in from behind? Simple it's not, I'm afraid you will find, for a mind maker upper to make up his mind. Anybody ever sprained their chin? Yeah, okay. Sometimes we're moving along in life and life's going along just fine. We're flying high and we run into a dark and scary place that's not well marked. The lights aren't on. What do we do? What do we do when we hit those scary places in our life? Again, back to the science of mind, Holmes says we should not be confused over any given form, but should know that any form which is not of the original harmony is subject to change. The original spirit or God is harmony, beauty, and truth, and the universe is not divided against itself. He says we have the ability to choose what we will do with our life, and we are unified with a law which automatically produces our choice. That's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement. I was listening to Esther Hicks, Abraham, that group this week a little bit, and she had a really powerful message that I think goes along with this. And she was talking about the creative process, which we teach here. The seed, the soil, and the plant basically is the idea. The idea goes into universal law, and the manifestation comes forth in form. And her premise is that the first step is ask. In fact, that was her first book, Ask and It Is Given. And the first step is to ask. And she's, over the years, called that launching those rockets of desire into the unformed universal substance. The same thing that we say about planting a seed, right? The next step, she says, is none of our business. And we pretty much say the same thing because that's the law. And the law just does what? It says yes. Well, then we get caught up in that next step. Where's my stuff? I'm not seeing the manifestation. Where is it? All I'm seeing is that it's not here. I'm seeing this effect of it not being here. And that's where my attention's going. It's not here, it's not here, it's not here, it's not here. Well, what she is talking about in the third step is to allow the match, to allow that frequency. So it's the idea of when we speak our word, Spirit says yes. The law says yes. Right then and there, yes. And it's available to us in unformed substance. It's waiting for us. But when we ask, do you realize that we're evolutionary beings, that we're always growing and expanding? And most of what we ask for in our life is an improvement, a betterment, a more than where we are currently, right? And in that asking, in that moment of asking, our vibration is up because we believe when we ask that we can achieve, right? So our vibration is very high. We believe we can achieve that. And that's where that creation comes from. But then what happens? We start focusing on the lower frequency, the lower vibration of lack, and it's not here. So we start looking at that, and it's like the Amazon drones. You moved. I can't find you. I've got your package. Where are you? Bless you. I can't find you. Because we placed our order at this address, but then we moved to that address, and it can't find us. So here, I've put it out here to manifest XYZ, and the universe is going, I got your package, Jill. Where are you? Where's Jill? Where's Jill? I got your package. Where are you? And I'm over here whining, where's my stuff? And my vibration is down. So our work is to ask and hang out up there for a while. Hang out in that higher vibration, that higher frequency, so that that form can now find us and manifest in our life. That's our work to do. And we have several spiritual tools that we teach around here that we help us to do that. Now, one of them is meditation. Because what does meditation do? Those long-term meditators in the room, you know what it does. It helps us to focus, doesn't it? It helps us to focus our attention. So focusing is one of the key ingredients to this manifestation process. We choose, and then we have to focus our attention on what we have chosen. Focus our attention that is possible. It's what I believe for me. It's what I'm going to receive, achieve, whatever it is. That's our focus portion. The second portion of that is our spiritual mind treatment, our 5-step scientific treatment. If you think about how that works, step 1 is we align ourselves with the infinite. Is God the highest vibration everywhere? Well, yeah, of course. So we align with that. We align with that vibration, and we pull ourselves up to that, and we realize that if God's all there is, we are a part of that as well. That's pretty cool. So that's where we speak our word from. That's where we speak our realization statement from, is that higher vibration. So now the stuff that we've planted in the universal medium is saying, oh, there you are. Okay. Now, do we hang out there for a while? Or do we go crashing back down again because it's not here? Well, if we go crashing back down again, it's going, oh, well, I'm a little closer, but I lost you again. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? It's like a fog. Where'd you go? So the key is keeping our vibration of knowingness at that higher level. And that's this idea of coming together in community so that we vibrate higher as a community and as a group than we do by ourselves. Do you know that? Yeah, we've all experienced that, where we come together in a group. I think the Bible says when 2 or more are gathered. And we know that to be true. When 2 or more are gathered, energy goes up. It's like our connection pre-service in the mornings. Energy goes up because we've connected with each other. So that's the key to manifesting our success in life. It's from the inside out. A lot of times we start looking at manifesting that thing and it's out there and I'm trying to get it over here, get it. It's not how it's going to happen. It has to happen from in here out. We have to transform our vibration, transform our energy so that it just naturally appears for us. It just naturally appears for us. So let's go back to our story. He says, all right, we're in this new place with our mind maker upper. Do you like that phrasing? I like that phrasing, our mind maker upper. And he says that you can get so confused that you'll start to race. Did I skip a part? Hang on. Nope, I didn't. You'll get confused and you start into race down long wiggled roads at breaknecking pace and grind on for miles across weirdish wild spaces, headed, I fear, toward the most useless place, the waiting place. For people just waiting. Waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone just waiting. Waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for Uncle Jake, a pot to boil, or a better break, a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. And I call that the place of I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when, right? When I gain the weight, lose the weight, get taller, get shorter, find the boy, boss quits, get a new job, get a bank, right? Waiting. It's kind of like he was saying there, waiting on the snow to snow. Just waiting. Well, that doesn't necessarily move us in the direction of our dreams, does it? Because we're focused on what? Waiting. Or we're focused on that which is not here yet. Same principle, that place of just waiting. Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes has a great quote. I really like this one. He says, "We wrestle not against outward things, but against inward ideas and beliefs and thoughts." I mean, we think it's about everything outside of us, don't we? When we're pushing and resistance against stuff, but it's what we think about that stuff that we're resisting. It's our inward stuff, and that's what he's telling us. It's not the outward things, it's against the inward ideas and beliefs and thoughts. He says the power of darkness is the power of false belief and superstition. If we can change this inner concept, our whole life will be changed. And our Divine Intelligence book that we just completed, our main character, Dan, she kept trying to get him to understand, as within, so without. How we think is how we live. How we think is how we live. So it's from the inside out that we can affect how we live on the outside. So our friend Dr. Seuss has us getting quickly out of the waiting stuff, because he realizes that's not a good place to be. Tells us to go find the boom bands playing. And then we do lots of other adventures. But then he casts us alone in the dark. He tells us that we'll spend some time alone out on this grand journey called life, and that we play games sometimes with ourselves that we cannot win. But on you will go, though the weather be foul. On you will go, though your enemies prowl. On you will go, though the hacking cracks howl. Onward up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers might leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far and face up to your problems, whatever they are. Because that's what we do, right? We face our problems. Good never compromises with its opposite. Good never compromises with its opposite. Holmes tells us that we must be able to look a fact in the face and know that all manifestations are effects and can be changed by changing the mental cause. So he's saying the same thing he said several times. If you've read The Science of Mind, you begin to realize that he's very repetitive in it, because he's teaching the same principles, the same basics, the same tools within the science of mind. So releasing our doubts, releasing our yeah buts, it works here but it won't work there. Releasing that and releasing our fear. So it seems that the places we'll go is pretty reflective of life's experiences, the challenging times, the happy times, the scary times. But Dr. Seuss keeps us moving forward on our path, keeps us going, and the Science of Mind teaches us the tools and practices that we can use to respond to all of those bang-ups, hang-ups, lurches, and slumps. That's why we come to a center, that's why we come to study group, that's why we attend classes, to learn the tools and practices that help us to deal with life's bumps and bruises, to keep us moving forward, to allow us to reveal the genius and magnificence within us that we are as that God principle. We talked in our Divine Intelligence book about the God particle. It's in each one of us. It's in each one of us, just waiting to be revealed. Like Rob's song, the blossom that doesn't bloom doesn't open. Open. It's time to wake up. So I want to move quickly into our practicing the principles and see how we can apply this wisdom of Dr. Seuss and Dr. Holmes in our life this week of perhaps making some better choices. Number one is the law is no respecter of persons and creates alike for all. We can all use it. We are not inferior creators. We can all use it if we practice the principles around it. Our work is to learn the spiritual laws and use them like we do the physical laws. When you got up this morning and made your coffee or your tea or whatever you might have done, you didn't have to coerce the law of electricity to work, did you? No. But, we didn't have to do a spiritual mind treatment. We didn't have to do a meditation. We didn't have to vision or journal. We just turned on our coffee pot, and it worked. As long as we pay APS, it works. It's part of the law. So when we can get ourselves into that use of the law, that we just use it as a matter of course, imagine the magnificent revelation in your life. Number 2, remember the creative process. Choose again. Don't get stuck in appearances. Judge not by appearances, right? Can't judge a book by its cover. All those things we've heard, those sayings. Don't get stuck in the effects. Realize that everything is temporary and transitional. Everything is always changing for us. It's being created anew. And you have the power to create the new effect in your life by not giving energy to, not feeding that which is there, letting that fall away, and choosing and focusing and keeping that vibration up there for focusing on that which it is that you do want to see and experience in your life. If you get stuck and get hung up in the effect, we have a wonderful service here called Religious Science Practitioners. They are professionals, they are trained, they are licensed, they will pray with you, and they do counseling, they do spiritual counseling to help you understand how to move through and change your attention from that obstacle, from that effect that's in front of you right now that you want to see changed, to that which is new and coming to you. And number 3, how we think is how we live. Do you know how you think? Really? Do you know how you think? Again, this book, Divine Intelligence, talked about deep inquiry, where we really ask ourselves those hard questions. What do you believe about God? Write it down. What do you believe about love? What do you believe about life expressing? What do you believe about yourself? That time of deep inquiry to where we really know what we believe about ourselves and have conviction about that. And if we find and discover things that don't make sense, we may do that in that deep inquiry. Wow, I'm still hanging on to that old belief. I thought I got rid of that. We can then have something we can work with and change and grow from. Deep inquiry. So the question is, are you willing? Are you willing to do the practices? Are you willing to do the deep work? Are you willing to hold your vibration there? Are you willing to do the meditation? Are you willing to do the prayer treatments? Are you willing to do that to see your life shift, to see your life change? So choice is a powerful step in the creative process. It's the first step, isn't it? It's the first step in the creative process. Ask and it is given. Ask and you shall receive. All of those ancient sayings are still true and relevant. We just have to become that match to it. So I want to leave us today with the final quote from the end of the book, where he tells us, "And will you succeed? Yes, yes, indeed you will. 98.75% guaranteed. Kid, you're going to move mountains." So stay brave, stay focused, and keep living from the inside out. Do you join me in prayer as we anchor this in affirmative prayer this morning? So as we go within in recognition of that divine presence of God, Spirit, Source, that infinite intelligence and wisdom of all that is, it is love and peace, harmony and joy. It is that infinite creativity, creation, creator. It is love so unconditioned that it just expresses and flows, knows nothing outside of itself. And as it is all that there is, I am that which it is. I am a manifestation, individualized and unique, of that divine power and presence that creates worlds and universes. And I know that that is true of each one in this room and within the sound of my voice today. We are all individualized expressions of the Most High, of God. So from that place of knowing that truth, that beauty, that divine spark that we are, I speak my word for and about each one of us. Knowing that no matter where we may be standing on that crossroads in life, no matter what decision we may be wrestling with, that we are aligned with this power, with this presence, with this divine guidance system within us that is activated and alive right now in this moment to guide us and direct us into the perfect right steps, the perfect right direction that is in the highest service to the magnificence of who we are. And I am so grateful for this knowing. I'm so grateful for this blessing. I'm so grateful for this manifestation because I know that the word spoken is the word made manifest. And I know that our vibration is elevated and raised up to that matching vibration of that which we desire. And we hold it there like a hang glider hanging in that higher realm of conscious awareness, knowing that our good is ours now, right here, right now, in this moment. So I release this into the action of law, which only and always says yes, knowing that it is already done, as I anxiously await its manifestation in form. We affirm this together by proclaiming, and so it is.